Good evening, everyone. Once again, we're so glad that you're taking time out of your busy schedules to meet in your small group to discuss some things that are really important. As we've mentioned many times to you, that we believe that life change happens best in the context of a small group. So hopefully there'll be some good life change happening here today. Any of you remember this document called The Way Forward? We have presented that to you before, but in this document we have a list of our biblical core values, and that of course is the teaching series that we're on right now, looking at our biblical core values. Core values are very important for any organization, but in particular for a church to have in place, because these are the driving principles, the driving guidelines that kind of act as guardrails for us to keep us on track. Whenever we're thinking of a new program or new opportunity, a new initiative to start or stop something, all of those things have to be passed through the grid of our core values to make sure that we're really on track and staying right in the middle of the road in that regard. And one of the things about these core values that you've probably noticed so far is that many of them sound like motherhood themes, don't they? Like apple pie and ice cream and baseball and hot dogs and those kinds of things. And the reason they are motherhood themed is because they are very, very important. But it is important for us as a congregation to articulate the value around those themes and to really live by those. So far, as you recall, we have looked at the core value of truth. We've looked at inclusion. We've looked at prayer. And this last Sunday, we looked at mission. And mission is another one of those things where you can just kind of quickly dismiss it because it's so familiar to us. I remember the story of these two hunters that were going out, and one of the guys had this new hunting dog, and he said to his buddy, "Wait till you see my dog. This dog is a special dog." So they were out in the blind there waiting for the ducks to come. A duck flew by. The hunter shot the duck. The duck fell into the pond, and then he said to his dog, "Go get me the duck." And this dog, instead of swimming, walked across the water, on top of the water, picked up the duck, walked back on top of the water, and put it down. And the fellow said, "What do you think of my dog?" And his buddy said, "Well, I noticed that dog can't swim." Now, you might, that's a dad joke, I know, it's a silly kind of thing. But sometimes it is so easy just to miss the obvious, the profound nature of something that's very, very obvious. And that's certainly true in this whole area of mission. We do intuitively know that the church is not about us, it's about us reaching out. And it is so important for us to grasp that. You might recall I've said to you in several messages now that quote from Christopher Wright, that the church was not given a mission, the mission was given a church. The mission of God always has been, since Adam and Eve fell in the garden, God has been on this restoration and recovery mission. And then he created the church to participate in on that mission. And that's what you and I have the joy of doing. In my message, I did reference a number of scriptures, but one in particular was Acts 1:8, where Jesus says, "You will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." And again, there's two ways you could hear that. You could hear him kind of scolding in a way, saying, "You will be my witnesses. You need to be outwardly focused. You need to be going out. You need to do this." You could hear it that way, and actually there could be some legitimacy to that. The other way to look at it is he's saying, "Hey, you will be my witnesses." In a positive way, you get to do this. You get to reach out to people who are far from God and help them enter into a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ. And folks, we get to do that. And that is our joy and our privilege to always be on mission, where we live, work, and play every day of the week. So God bless you as you study this, and I pray that where you land could be some practical applications for you personally and your group of how you're going to respond to the mission of God.